We there? We're there. Welcome to the Deal Champs podcast. I'm your co-host, Mr. Strat Daddy. We have Captain America, Dean Rogers, and we have Master Steve-O. I'm super
I want to be
excited
Captain
for our guest
America.
today. Bro, look at,
Yeah. That would
bro,
be
look
some
at
stuff
me,
Steve would say. Hey, why can't I be Captain
Why
America?
can't I be captain? I'm the captain now.
My name is Steve.
I mean, look at Dean. Yeah,
Okay,
He's
fine.
got that going for him.
Okay, fine.
you got that going.
Fine.
You got that
You
going.
got that going for you.
But I mean, if you look at Dean, he's got the jawline, he's got the hair, he doesn't drink, he doesn't cuss on the internet. Bro, he's got it all.
I can do this all
He's
day.
got it all.
Yeah. I see you. I see you.
But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Here at the Deal Champs podcast, our entire goal and mission is to empower our listeners by highlighting some real life deals and real life entrepreneurs in the space, some of the best ones across the industry, like Steve-O here. We want to give you guys actionable steps, and I know this one will give you guys a ton of actionable steps you can implement in your business. If you are listening to this on the podcast app or on YouTube, go hit that like and subscribe button. Go give us a 5-star review. And if you do want to be featured on this podcast with one of your deals, our biggest deal that we've had featured is 140. Am I right?
Mhm.
Or is it one,
Mhm.
140 grand? That's an assignment fee. So that was pretty cool. Go to deanrogers.com/podcast.
Man, you got to get my boy Nick Chapman on here. He wholesaled a Taco Bell for 150K.
Hey. That's
Yeah,
pretty
I'm
dope.
interested. I'm interested.
Yeah.
Did that deal come with unlimited tacos for the rest of your life or what?
Right?
I'll have to double check. My understanding it was mostly the real estate, but I didn't read the fine print. Right, I just looked at the HUD. So he sent me the HUD.
Who
That's
did he
all I
sell
got.
it to? Who bought it?
I don't even know. I was just like, holy cow, this is incredible. So
That's super cool.
I've been meaning to have him on the show. I haven't done it yet, but I think probably it would make sense for him to come on your show, especially because he's doing multifamily now. Like he's someone that went from like, hey, I might do 40K on one deal, and that'd be pretty cool, to like owning a bunch of like apartments and stuff.
Do you own any apartments yet, Steve? I know you own some houses in the Midwest.
I own a fraction of an apartment complex. I think
So you own like
1.29% or
3,000
something like that.
You own like 3,000
I mean, yeah,
units.
dude, I own all these doors, right? But like, if you break it down, it's like 1.5 units. Or I own 1% of 129 units or something. However you want to break it down. I'm part of a
feel you.
syndication.
And then Daniel Esteban Martinez, a fellow Steve Trang mentee. I met him through
What's
Steve-O.
up?
Shout out
Yeah,
Hive Mind.
remember he showed up? He showed up in the. Were you there when he showed up in his truck? When we went to go run at the park. I think you were there.
Oh yeah, that's the night I didn't sleep.
Yeah. He showed up in his whole like he took his 18-wheeler
Semi truck
from Atlanta, Georgia, I believe, to Phoenix for our event.
I didn't know he did that. What's going on,
Yeah.
Eric?
Mr. Eric Brewer.
Mr.
Wu
Brewer.
Trang. I like that.
Got famous
that's
people
a-
here
ooh.
now.
Wu Trang, bro. That's the new name, not Master Steve-O. Wu Trang. Yeah.
Well, that was the dream at one
like
point.
that.
I was like, if I can, like Eric Wu, he opened up Open Door. I was like, man, if I partnered up with Eric Wu, we could have had like Wu Trang Real Estate, but we missed it. We missed that opportunity.
That would have been good.
It's not too
Well,
late.
yeah.
Eric Wu, Open Door. If you're watching this, if you figure out this whole Open Door situation, it's not too late.
Do you think Open Door's done? I think they're all done for a little while. I don't see them making any money.
I don't think they go away forever, right?
I planted this flag in the ground. I want to say 3 or 4 years ago, maybe longer, 5, 6 years ago. And I said Open Door and OfferPad will at one point completely cease to exist. I am not worried about Open Door. I'm not worried about OfferPad. I'm worried about the companies that learn the lessons from them, right? It's the people that come after who have figured out the mistakes.
Who
Those are the
weren't
ones
first
we
to
worry
market,
about, right?
but then
You're
they
not
were
worried
that
about the
mid to market
wholesaler.
guy. Yeah.
Yeah, right. I mean, the people that come along later on, like whoever's going to try to replicate it, I think those are the ones you got to worry about. Like the first guys, the pioneers, I think they're going to make some big mistakes. They got these class action lawsuits. They got slapped around by the I think the FTC, right? They got all these multiple class action lawsuits. They've taken everything they had. They've broken it apart. I mean, they lost over $1 billion.
Where'd they get the lawsuits from?
Just lipstick stuff.
Misleading statements, right? Say, hey, Stratton, if you sell your house to me, you're going to avoid all these realtor fees and this and that and so on. Well, yeah, you avoid realtor fees, but you take it on the chin on the service fee. Like, I can't tell you, hey, Stratton, if you sell it to me, you're going to save 6% on the commission and then charge you a 6% service fee.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
Right?
That's
It's
what
like,
they were doing?
you can't. Well, yeah, right. That one, they have their service fee. So
We didn't ever
you
have them
can't-
in our markets. So like we never had to like deal with them. Like we never had any iBuyers or really any hedge funds. There's only one hedge fund and they don't go direct to seller.
Yeah. So, the FTC or whoever really frowned upon misleading statements. So they got slapped with like a $43 million fine at some point. Which when the federal government fines you, like it is what it is. Like you just pay it, right?
Yeah.
But then they've got multiple class action lawsuits from investors who are disappointed with performance, which really is on the fault of the investors, right? You're stupid for giving money to someone whose stated purpose is not to be profitable, right?
For
But
years.
they're upset about it for years, right? Hey, Stratton, I got this wonderful idea. I'm going to lose money for the next 6 years to prove that the realtor model is broken. You want to invest? These people invested with them. How could they be upset? But they filed these multi-million-dollar lawsuits.
Are they not buying at all in Phoenix anymore? Because like I've never.
I think they're still buying. I think they're still buying and selling, but they're still buying and selling. But like they got open door title. I think they've broken that off. They had open door lending. I think they've broken that off. They got their open door brokerage. I think the open door brokerage is closed now, or they called it something else. So like they kind of had like this ecosystem that they're trying to create to replace the realtor model, and then they call the wholesalers the bad guys, right? So they even though they wholesale to hedge funds, so they've got this model that they created, and then it's no longer in one piece, right? They had to break it off because of how much money they were losing. So we'll see.
Steve Trang shits
Thank
sales
you, Pat. Appreciate
excellence
that comment.
and even left a value stain on the stage one time. I concur. I can back it up.
That's awesome. I love Pat.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
That's awesome.
That's
He's gonna be the
Scott
host for
Hale
Closest
right
Olympics
there.
in a couple of weeks.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, that's incredible. That's gonna be a whole different closers Olympic like never seen before with Mr. Pat Hilton on it.
Yeah.
Right.
That's gonna be.
Well, he did it last year and it
that's
was
gonna be
crazy.
a sight
And
to
he's
see.
gonna be even better. He's got like a 6-pack now. It's nuts. And shout out to
He's
Pat.
going, yeah.
He's got like a 6-pack now.
Yeah, he's committed.
All right. What is the Closers Olympics? I mean, this is kind of like up your sales alley. What the hell is it? I've like seen it online.
Closest Olympics. So Closest Olympics is you take, I mean, the very first year, right? You just take 12 influencers, or at that point, 11, people that are supposed to be good in sales plus me, right? Like that's how we did the very first year. At that time, right? No one really knew that I could sell. They just knew me as a podcaster. So it was pretty cool. There was 12 of us. No one gave RJ any credit. No one gave me any credit as far as sales. And we came in and RJ and I, we kicked butt. We didn't win, but
A little biased. It was a little biased.
why that happened, we'll just leave that to interpretation. But it's basically 12 closers that compete. They take live sellers. It's real sellers, right? And they're it's basically, from the way I felt, and the first year and then last year, it's basically a cold calling competition, right? You're just calling not dead leads, but not warm leads, right? You're calling leads that have indicated at one point or another they're interested in selling. And let's see what you got. And so 12 guys, 30 minutes each, see who advances to the finals. And you make it to the finals, 3 people make it to the finals, again, hour each on the next day. So first year, it was a 2-day event. Second year, I believe, was a 3-day event. The first day was like kind of like a free run, right? And then this year is the same thing, but they even had more free runs. They had, I think, like 36 people qualify for 6 spots,
So it was like
this
a
year,
bloodbath the first day. Like they're like, yeah, come get it.
So now we got, I think, 12 people again, and it's gonna be a lot of fun because it's gonna be myself, Chris Jefferson, Steve Morales is gonna be judging, Christina Aguilera, Donovan Ruffin, and we got a bunch of savages in there. I love RJ Bates, right? We do part in the disruption together. The guy does everything. How do I put it? Not the prescribed way. And it
Let's say, is there a
just
butt
works
coming?
for him. It just works.
It's funny you say that. I'm
It's
actually glad you said that.
unconventional.
I'm glad you said that because when I watch RJ Bates and his content, it
Aggressive.
goes against pretty much everything. Like who gets on
Yeah.
the phone and is like, oh yeah, so what do you want? Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, I can make that work. All right. I'll send over the contract.
Look me up. Yeah, look me up. RJ Bates the third.
Yeah. But it works. It just like it works.
It works. So the thing I've said about RJ, right? Because I totally respect him. Don't let him listen to this part. I totally respect him, right? The biggest thing for RJ is that he's not repeatable. It's not replicatable, right? Like RJ can do this, and like maybe 2% of the population can do it the way RJ does it. But most people can't run that style because it takes an insane amount of confidence, and it takes an insane amount of ability to think on your feet. And not everyone has that level of confidence and the wittiness.
Yeah, the ability to think on your toes like that.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
You can't teach it.
No, you can't teach it. No, I feel like you could, bro. Like, think about, like, he could just attract his tribe, and then everybody could replicate it, right? If like a bunch of people who had his same personality type came in, everybody would go in there, like just like Grant Cardone
he's a
stuff,
venturer.
bro.
He's a venturer, and there's a lot of venturers, right? But like, you guys are both real athletes, right? I just play
You're in
one,
there.
right, on social media.
Steve-O.
I play one on
Steve-O,
social
you're an
media,
athlete,
right?
You're world class.
You guys
Hey,
are
I saw
real
those
athletes.
calves. When I saw those calves, I was like,
I saw the
athlete right
jumper, bro. I saw the
Yeah.
jumper. I saw you swat Xavier. Like, I don't care what anybody says, bro. Steve Trang swatted Xavier out of the
there.
gym.
No way.
Out of the gym,
No
bro.
way.
There might have been some
yeah.
elbow, but anyway, right? Like, you guys have been in the locker rooms. You guys have heard the banter. But like, what percentage of the people in the locker room had that banter? Had the ability to give it and take it at a high level?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's some dudes you just didn't want smoke from because they just destroy you.
Yeah, right. So like, who was it? It was Ed on the Ravens.
Ed Reed.
Ed Reed.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I think like he would just talk nonstop. Right. Gary Payton would just talk nonstop.
Jalen Ramsey.
But like,
Jalen Ramsey doesn't stop.
Yeah. But I think most athletes don't talk like a great game, right? They just let their work perform, or they just let their work show. But that person that can just keep giving it and giving it and giving it, I think RJ's got that. I don't think you can teach that. I think you can teach a process, you can teach sales, but the ability to that witty comeback, I think that's a lot harder to teach. This is actually the reason why we have like the guests we have or the panelists we have in Pardon the Disruption. I picked them specifically because we've had incredible trash talking back and forth. I was like, all right, because you guys are so good at trash talking, let's make a show around trash talking.
Yeah, it's a skill for sure.
So like, what got you really into sales? And I mean, to be 100% transparent, Steve-O does not look like a master salesman. Like, that's not what anybody was like thinking was coming. Was Steve Trang to just come and close you hardcore?
Yeah, I really appreciate the question. So the reality was I was really, really awful at sales. I was just atrocious at sales. And I read the books, right? I got the CDs because I'm old enough, right? I didn't have the cassettes, but I had the CDs, right? This is before iPhones. And I learned as much as I could, and it worked, but I couldn't quite piece it together. And it wasn't until I actually met a sales trainer myself that we were able to put the pieces together. And the only reason why I met this sales trainer was because I was trying to buy deals from Pace Morby. And that guy refused to sell deals to me, right? At this time, I'm a real estate broker. I own a brokerage, and I'm trying to wholesale, right? Wholesale is my side hustle. Pace was a general contractor who also had a home investor franchise. So wholesaling was kind of his other business. And I was like, Pace, sell me your deals. And he kept refusing to sell me his deals. And I was like, and I just kept harassing him. And eventually it's like, look, if you're trying to buy more deals, why don't you just hang out with all those other home investor guys? And I was like, there's a place where all the home investor guys hang out. Hell yeah, sign me up. And so he told me about it. It was a Sandler training place. So I went to go to that Sandler guy. And yeah, there were a bunch of home investor guys in there. And as the guy's talking, I was like, man, this guy's really good at sales. And so I spent the next 2 years going to his office 3 times a week, 2 hours on Tuesdays, 90 minutes on Wednesdays, 90 minutes on Fridays. And I just learned everything I could from him. Right. I soaked it all up, applied it to real estate, and then I could teach it. And I think it wasn't because I was passionate about sales. It was really just like a lot of other things, is a function of greed, right? There's a function of capitalism. It's like, hey, there's sales training that can be taught, and nobody does this. So I should do this. Now, here's how ignorant I was, because John Martinez actually was doing it at a high level. I just didn't know about it because I hadn't bought his training, right? So this whole giant blue ocean, it's a little tinted. It's not like blue, but it's pretty blue, right? So that's the reason why I got into it. Was like there was this massive opportunity when I spoke at We Live 19 in March in Dallas. I was like, hey, we might have something here. And after that event, we knew we had something there because everyone was coming to us like, hey, I want to learn what you guys do. So why does it exist? Capitalism, greed, blue ocean, fitting a need.
So you said something there that caught my attention. You said you spent 2 years. Was it going to the Sandler? Was it a Sandler training facility?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's one guy in Scottsdale, Arizona. He trained myself. He trained Pace. He trained all these home investor guys. He trained my own business partner, Max. He trained a lot of guys. Alec Lebec, right? Like,
yeah,
you guys
he trained
his
Lebec.
content,
Yeah.
right? He trained a lot of dudes. And the biggest thing, and I didn't realize why I couldn't quite piece it together. So there was 2 things that happened going to his training that I didn't see anywhere else, or you couldn't get out of a book. First was tonality. Like, tonality
Dude, tone
is
so big.
so key, right?
So
So he was
Jordan
able to help me
Belfort's
piece
big on
together the tonality.
But
Jordan is, but he doesn't. Before, because Wolf of Wall Street, I think, came in around that time, right? So I didn't really know who Jordan was. So I think, and Jordan Belfort's one of the best at teaching tonality. So I think tonality was one thing, but the other thing too is you got a bunch of real estate guys in this one room trying to get better at buying houses. So like we were taking the stuff and applying it and getting out there, getting after it. So when we teach how to buy houses, it's because we were getting bloodied in the streets using this stuff on how to buy houses.
Oh yeah. Oh, and I'm a testament. I 100% wholeheartedly believe in Steve's sales system. It's what we still use in everything. I've just taken the principles and applied it to different business aspects, and even to close like storage deals, I use the same sales system. It's a little bit longer, but I still apply like the same thing.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And Strat Daddy was one of the first guys to invest in us. I really appreciate it.
He took my
came
last
to
dollar.
our very, very first event.
He took my last dollar.
I didn't take your last dollar. The IRS took your last dollar.
I didn't have.
The IRS took your last dollar, and then when they refunded it you, then you gave it to me.
100% worth it. And this will go into, man, going to events is massive, right? Because like most of my network now has come from that first event I went to at Steve's. Like that's where I met Michael Ray. I mean, that we need to have like a reunion event. I say this all the time.
We do.
With like me, Michael Ray, JR, Willie, who else, bro? Daniel. Like there's a lot of people who came out of there who ended up crushing. And then I've met people through all of them now to where I feel like I have a pretty good network of people who I can like talk to.
Yeah, I mean, I think events is one of those things that it's funny how so many people are like don't want to go to events. Events is like the best return. It's cool to learn from the guy in front of you, right? The guy that's teaching it. But the connections you make, they're so long lasting. I think events are absolutely key. I think on the flip side, though, there are other people that go to too many events, right?
Mhm.
It's like, how do I
That's
put it
true.
without being offensive?
What is it? What's the word? They are success zombies.
Yeah, say zombies.
Success zombies. Yeah, they just like
Yeah,
keep going to more and more events, but they never take action.
they never take action, right? So I think there's got to be a blend of going to events and actions. But yeah, I think going to events, even before I had, like I said, the sales training I went to, I was a realtor. I would go to realtor events, and like you learn from the people at the event that are successful. You identify the people that are doing well, and what do? You buy them dinner, you buy them drinks, you hang out with them, you get their number, so that when you need help, you can call them later on, right? But you got to give so much, and I think the other thing too is you learn a lot at an event from the front where they're teaching. But some of the best advice I got was like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, drinking at the bar.
Oh,
Right.
100%, dude.
That doesn't work for Dean, unfortunately, but I mean it worked.
Hey, I'll still be
It worked.
there.
But no, Dino stays up. Me and Dino
Oh, Dino
had
stays
some
up.
good times staying up late.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
Dino's stone cold sober. I'm stumbling. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I
Well,
have a good time sober.
someone's got to be designated walker.
Yeah. In high school, they called me designated dean because I was the one driving people everywhere.
High school. Got it.
Yep. But no, I think it's so important to call that out. Like you've got to go to events because you're going to see real players there, and it could just be one sentence, literally one thing that they say that just makes a complete shift in your mind or gives you new information, or it could be just
Hmm.
one new connection that they give you that changes everything. It could be
Yeah.
one new strategy or one new tweak on what you're doing, one new piece of information. And it's hard to get that without being in person. Sure, you can get it, but when you're face to face with somebody and you have a good connection, you have a good conversation, it just gets you both to open up a little bit more. And now you start having some more meaningful conversations.
Absolutely. Especially like you look at there's some options. You can do it virtually. You can do it over Zoom, right?
It
And that's
doesn't
cool
work.
too, right? Again, you get
It
the
doesn't work.
information. You got the information, but you don't get the networking. So you don't get the bonus of networking. You don't get the bonus of connection. And then again, like sending a message to someone afterwards doesn't work if you're just connecting on Zoom.
Yeah.
Well, and I get more out of every event from all of the people who went rather than the speakers. I generally am never even watching the speakers. Like when we went to Pineda's event a while ago,
Yeah.
I just wanted to see Neil Patel because I'm a fanboy. He was the only dude I cared about. I was like, what does he have to say? He's the only person who I care about. Everyone else, either I'm watching like Chris Crone had really good stage presence, and so I wanted to see that. But besides that, dude, like I wanted to network with people, and that's where all the deals get done too. Like that's where
Hmm.
you're gonna make your money, learn, build
Dude, we
great
met
relationships.
some good people at that event.
Yeah.
And of course, we didn't get to talk to any of the speakers, but we got to talk to all the people attending, and there was high quality people attending.
Yeah. I mean, you look at a lot of the people that are willing to invest, right?
Mm-hmm.
The ticket, the airfare, the hotel, right? These are people that are actually doing deals, generally doing
Generally.
deals.
All right, let's tie this back into sales stuff again.
Yeah.
I have a question for us. Dino. Use all this time to get all your sales leadership questions answered from Steve. All right, now is the time.
Now, yeah,
Um,
this is for me. This is for
Yeah.
me.
This is off the invoice. Got
this
it.
is
Yeah,
for me. Yeah,
we thought
It's
you
for me
thought this
too.
was a podcast. These are just questions I've been building up. I got a long list.
Perfect. Awesome.
this is the only reason I have a podcast.
It's a good reason.
So we have. I don't know if I talked to you about this one. The dude, one of our reps, was complaining about the amount of money he was making, and he wanted more.
Okay.
Right? And we're like, well, you got to be hitting your metrics first, and then we can talk. And then he started hitting his metrics, and then he was still unhappy.
Hmm.
Right? And I
Okay.
heard we had Adrian Hernandez on the other day, and I'd never even thought about this. And he was like, bro, we had such a nice office that all the sales reps would just tell them that we have to pay them more money because they're like on the beach where all the yachts are and everything else. So like, how are you like setting proper expectations when you're bringing on those sales reps so to mitigate some of that nonsense?
Okay, so I think the first thing, right, is you and I are gonna have a conversation, right? So Stratton, you're a new guy, you're joining my company. All right. Hey Stratton, how much money do you think you're gonna need to make here?
I want to make $1 million.
$1 million. Got it. Hey, that makes sense. I'm curious, what's important to you about making $1 million?
Freedom, be able
Freedom.
to invest, clout.
Okay.
What else?
Investing, clout. Hey, look, we all have our different reasons. I get it. I want to make $1 million a year as well. Okay, so clout and freedom. What does freedom mean?
Be able to do what I want when I want.
Okay, do what you want when you want. All right. You must make $1 million. You couldn't get the freedom or the ability to invest making less than $1 million.
No.
All right. Well, then I don't. Truth be told, I'm not sure working here is the best fit for you.
And so you're just going to opt them out in the sales interview?
I mean, shit. If you need $1 million, you're not gonna make it here, right? I don't sell oil. I don't sell diamonds. We do, right? Like we don't do anything illegal. Like I can't get you to $1 million,
Right. What about
But let's
so
say you
let's
said
say
you want to make 6 figures, right? Because everyone says
6
100,000.
figures.
Like everyone
Yeah,
says
everybody
100,000.
says 6 figures.
All right. Okay, Strat, 100,000. What's important to you about making $100,000?
I feel like I could really set up my family and we could live comfortably.
Got it. Set up your family and live comfortably. And what does comfortably mean to you?
We don't have to worry about money anymore.
Got it. So you're looking for some security as well for the money you make.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I understand that. So, looking at our sales reps right now, in order to make $100,000, they need to make about $8,000 or $9,000 a month. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the way our compensation plan works is you get 10%. So you're going to bring in $80,000 to $90,000 a month in revenue. Make sense? Okay. So to do $80,000, $90,000 a month in revenue, I mean, we typically do about $20,000 in wholesale fees. So you're looking at 4 or 5 contracts closed a month. You good there?
Yeah.
All right. So 4 or 5 contracts closed. What we typically see, you got to be closing about 8 contracts a month. Or you got to be contracting about 8 properties a month. Put simply, 2 contracts a week.
Okay.
All right. So to do 2 contracts a week, from what we've seen with our other sales reps, that's 3 hours of talk time a day on the phones.
Okay.
Is that something that you're comfortable in committing to so that you can get your 2 contracts a week, so that you can make your 8,000 to 9,000 a month, so that you can build a comfortable life for your family?
Yes.
Okay.
And so you just essentially are telling me Sandlerize the initial interview, no matter what you do.
After the onboarding, I mean, typically, we'll talk about this, right, in the meeting, right? But the actual why conversation will occur after the onboarding.
After.
Yeah. Right. But what did we do here? We figured out your KPIs based off the amount of money you said you wanted to make. Now, if you said I want to make 150, I would do the same thing. Hey, we're looking like 150. I mean, you got to be doing more or less 13, 14 contracts, right?
A month.
So you got to put in 3 contracts a week. You only put in 3 contracts a week. Here's the body of work that's required. And now I'm going to get a commitment from you. Are you prepared to be on the phones 5 hours a day? If you can, great. We love to have you. If you can't commit to 5 hours a day, you're not going to be able to hit those metrics. You're not going to be able to make $150,000 a year here with, $80,000 a year effort.
How are you holding them? Are you doing a weekly cadence as far as like holding them to their talk time?
Daily.
Okay.
Daily. So they have to put in their KPIs every single day. right? And I said they have to put in the KPIs. We don't pull it from the CRM. We don't have the VA pull it, because what happens when it comes from the CRM? Oh, the CRM's wrong,
Right.
right?
Bro,
Oh,
every time.
the VAs are missing this, right? So when they put it in, that's the freaking number. It is not an automated
Yep.
extracted number. And so when they put the numbers in, well, now they know they didn't put in the work required. I don't have to tell them they didn't put in the work required. And now we're gonna have a conversation. Hey, Stratton, you doing all right? Everything good? I know you said to me, like, it was important to you that you could do X, and this is the requirements to hit that. I see, in the last day or two, you're not quite hitting that talk time. Has something changed? But this is now me leading you to what you want. This is not about, hey, Strat, Dean, I'm due for a new Lamborghini, and the effort you guys are putting in here ain't gonna freaking cut it. Like, this is not that conversation, right?
Right.
This conversation is about what's important to you, right? This is what you said was important to your family. Is your family less important? Something changed? Your family not as important anymore? That's your decision. That's not my decision.
So that talk time that they're putting in, is that from outbound effort through cold calling? Is it through talking to leads that are coming inbound? Is it time spent on follow-up, or all the above?
It's predominantly talking to new leads and follow up.
Okay.
Not a ton of cold calling.
Okay.
Cold
That's good.
calling can become demoralizing.
I don't
agree.
believe in cold calling for sales reps. I think people are crazy to have their sales reps do that.
Yeah. So follow up, ton of follow up, right? These are people you talked to in the past. These are leads in the database that we haven't touched in like 6 months for whatever reason, right? So that, but not like hit this prop stream list, hit this Audantic list. Not
Yeah.
that. They have to do that when they start, though. They have to do that
Yeah.
when they start. I don't care where you are. You have to start off cold calling, because you have to know what it's like to eat crap. You have to know what it's like when someone grinds their face off to give you a lead, right? Because you get to some of these reps like, oh, this lead sucks. Like, you have any idea how hard someone worked to get this lead? Not that I only have to pay for this, but Stratton was on the phone, and like 4 times on the 4th call, he was able to get this guy to agree to an appointment, and you're just gonna blow it off? No, right? So you have to cold call when you start with us to qualify later on to have appointments set for you.
Well, and I feel like it's so you can know the whole process too. I feel like if you know the whole process, you sell better.
Yeah. And you get to learn how to sell, right? If you're not a great salesperson yet, like, you get to get the talk tracks, right? The process, the mental frameworks, this and that. There's no better way than just volume and reps and talking to people.
What are your tips on building a great virtual sales culture? I don't know if you guys were ever really virtual, but that you've
I
seen.
I think if you're going to build a virtual sales team, you better be next level leadership.
That's what I'm
So
saying, bro.
I have one office here, right? So when we had our brokerage, my goal was to get the 10% market share, right? It was an aspirational goal. We never hit it. The best we ever did was a 1% market share, which was pretty cool, right? To do 1% of all the transactions in the Phoenix market went through my office. That's pretty cool, right? And so I had people say, well, Steve, you want to do more deals? No problem, right? Just have multiple offices. And for me, I did not have enough faith in my leadership ability to instill the culture in multiple buildings. It's hard enough to lead culture in one building. To have culture in multiple buildings, for me, can be done? Absolutely. But very few people are doing it at a high level. To run a large virtual team where people aren't even showing up to the office, like, look, I'm not trying to sound overly paranoid, but how do you know that they don't have ESPN on in the background? How do you know that their kid is homesick and is like whining all day? And it's not like I hate it, right? Like, I get, like, you got to deal with this, but How do you know that these things aren't happening? Or maybe, husband came home early and he's having a bad day and he's just being mean to your leads manager. Like, these are things that are totally uncontrollable. And you have to lead a culture strong enough that you can trust your people to deal with things that you can't even help them with because you don't even know about it.
The hardest part in Call Magicians was when we got over 100 agents being able to like push that culture forward and keep it good.
Yeah.
I could
I
not
mean,
figure that out. Like
I think
100 people across the world was the hardest thing. To
I
like
think
keep everybody strong is the best way I could put it.
Tony Hsieh talks about this in Delivering Happiness. Reid Hoffman, the founder of LinkedIn, has talked about this. 150 people is about the largest number you can lead, right? That you can lead. That's about the largest you can lead. After that, like employee number 151, they're going to walk down in your building like, who the hell is that? Who
Yeah.
was that guy? Right?
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's just humanity. You can't know more than 150 of your people. So, like, yeah, you're talking about 100 people running Call Magicians. I get it. It's daunting.
Yeah, that
So
one was
I got a
intense.
question about we were talking about going through different meetings. What type of meetings do you have throughout the week? What type of meetings do you have throughout the month? Because doing the daily metrics, it's got me thinking about what I should do about that, because I have from the CRM I use, I get a productivity summary the next morning, and it shows me, basically all the key KPIs. And it gives me a good indication like what was done that day.
Mm-hmm.
And I send a screenshot of it to the team and it's like, yo, this is what was done. But what beyond having people entering in their KPIs, which I want to think more on myself, what other type of meetings do you have and what are the importance of those?
So in our wholesale company, we have the sales guys have to do their KPIs every day before they leave, right? And it's not like they call, right? Like they put it in the Slack, put it in the Google chat, whatever, right? They just have to type it into the team's agreed upon communication system. We have pipeline review twice a week. We have level 10s once a week. I mean, I think those are really the biggest things I can think of right now in our wholesale organization. And
What's your
then
daily
beyond the weekly,
cadence? Like, are you guys role playing twice a day?
Jaden is leading the team and they're doing role play every single morning. So they're
Then after
talking
that,
about,
it's like off to the races.
yeah, yeah. So good news, good news. Some sort of training, whether it's role playing or call review or whatever, right? And then and Fridays typically will not will limit the training because a lot of times they want to get to work so they can wrap up their week. It's like, fine, you want to hit the phones now, like, let's go hit the phones now. um and then we have monthly, not monthly, we have quarterly strategic meetings.
What do you guys do in those meetings?
In a quarterly strategic meeting,
Yeah.
quarterly strategic meeting, we're looking at the issues, like the rocks that we did not accomplish. Why didn't they get accomplished? And we just had this a couple weeks ago. The rocks that we want to commit to now, and the issues within our organization. Now we do this a little differently, right? Because I got my education company, my wholesale company, the title company, the real component, right, where we get the MLM brokerage, and then the high level one company that oversees all of it. So we ran that as a 2-day QSM, but in 2 days we were able to get through all the rocks that we failed to accomplish and why, or the rocks that we did accomplish, the rocks that we didn't accomplish, why, what can we do better, and then the rocks that we're going to commit to, and then the issues that stopped us. We also talked about the wins for the quarter, and we talked about lessons learned, and that was tough, right? Going over lessons learned, that's the what's the word I'm looking for? That's that
That's brutal.
humbling component.
Yeah, that's the humbling.
Do you guys have like certain team goals that you're working towards? Like if we hit certain numbers, we get a bonus or we get some sort of team trip or something like that. Something that we implemented a couple years ago is we
Mhm.
have an annual team retreat, and we just kind of get to unwind, spend some time together, spend some time with your significant other, get treated good for the weekend,
That would be pretty cool. No, we don't do that. What we have is a company-wide profit share. So it all goes into one pot, right? So it doesn't matter which company it goes into, it all goes into one pot. And the amount of profit share you get is based off the number of years you're here, right? So if you've been here for 7 years, you get 7 units in that profit share, right? And it's just divvied up. It's just math. So it's purely financial. It's not based off of like a destination, this or that. It's purely financial. But what I'm trying to instill, and I'm not saying this the right way, but what I'm trying to instill is that if we're blowing money, you're feeling it. If we're making a lot of money, you're feeling it, right? You're part of the upside.
Yeah.
You're also part of the waste.
Yeah. We got monthly team bonus goals that we have, and then we added that annual team trip, which is good for the culture aspect,
Mhm.
And then another thing that we added was whale club. If you hit 100,000 net profit on a deal as an acquisition manager, not only do you get your bonus, but you and your family get to go on a vacation.
That's pretty
Um,
awesome.
so, and the vacation's completely open. It's a $7,500 credit towards
Mhm.
anything you want. And it could be Europe, it could be somewhere tropical, it could be just down the street, like whatever you want to do,
That's pretty awesome. Yeah, we're not a fun office, so we don't do fun stuff.
Um, what was I going to ask you? You said the good news or role playing. What's good news?
Good news is just something good that happened yesterday, right? It could be
Okay.
personal or it could be business, but it's just something that you can express gratitude over. We learn a lot in personal development. Gratitude is the one thing that keeps all the negativity out. It doesn't keep all of it out, but it keeps a good chunk of it out, right? So if they could just share one thing they're grateful for before we even start, let's set the meeting in the right tone. Everyone's grounded.
Yeah. I can't remember who I learned that from, but we do that on our Tuesday team calls. And it is a good energy thing. It brings up the morale, gets people, thinking about just the small things that they're grateful for. And,
Mm-hmm. And they're
like
connecting. They're connecting
yeah,
when they learn about what's good, what they like about. When I hear good news from Stratton, I hear good news from Dean. Like I know what they're into. I know what they like. What's important to them.
absolutely. Um, does role playing get tired after doing it every day, or is it still just as valuable?
I don't know because I don't run those meetings, right? That's Jaden. So he runs the wholesale company. I imagine it doesn't get tiring, right? I haven't heard them complain about it. I think role playing has to be done the right way. I think one of the things I've seen a lot of is role plays be too easy, and role play is too easy, and that's just a waste of everyone's time. It's just a complete waste of time, right? I actually bring up both of you guys when we talk about practice, right? Practice or game day is easier than practice, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I actually have quoted both of you guys on this. And so role playing should not be easy because if it's easy, oh yeah, I'll sell my house for 150,000. When should I come over? I'll come over right now. It's like, no, that's not a real life role play, right? That's like a once in every 2 year type seller. So role play has got to be real. It's got to be challenging. You got to deal with real objections, right? So it shouldn't get boring, but I can't speak on it exactly because I'm not the one that's doing the role playing in our organization. It's Jaden, who's running the wholesale company.
Yeah, I think that's good. We finally implemented listening to calls and giving feedback on those,
Mm-hmm.
and that is super valuable because
And painful.
I and painful too. It really
Bro,
is.
it's painful for both of us. It's painful for you and the person, bro. It
It's
hurts.
truly painful for everybody.
Yeah.
We'll listen to a 5-minute call. I keep giving this example to people I tell about it. We'll listen to a 5-minute call and talk about it for an hour
Yeah.
because there was that much to learn
Yeah.
from that 5-minute call. You know what I mean?
So my sales team was actually getting pretty frustrated with me because it'd be like an hour 20 call. And like, we never make it past 5 minutes. I was like, well,
Fix the 5 minutes, and then we can move on.
Right?
Right?
If we're not getting the first 5 minutes right, it sets the foundation for the rest of the call.
It really,
Yeah.
Right? And so they get frustrated. And I get their frustration because like we're not fixing the other parts, but like I don't know. I am so particular and anal when it comes to this. Like everything's got to be done right. You know, it's kind of like when you look at a house, if you look at a flip and you notice that there's just no caulking, right? In the shower, you're like, well, what
What
else did
happened
they
here?
miss,
Yeah,
right? Like if this is the stuff I can see that's wrong, what about the stuff I can't see? And so again, I am super particular when it comes to following a process that, yeah, exactly right, Dean. We very rarely make it past 7 minutes and my team gets upset, but it's like, you're making mistakes on the calls.
Yeah.
Well, the long ones are the hardest for me, bro. It's like, man, we got an hour. Like, we could do this all day. Like,
Yeah.
we could analyze this call for a day. So generally, I'm only ever going like 20 minutes into a call anyways, because I'll eat up such a long amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm never usually going all the way through it, because even the most calls are not like a single step close anyways.
Right. Yep. Yeah. So what I said to them towards the end, before the last one left, was like, all right, you pick the 20 minutes you want to break down. But we have to start there, because if we start in the beginning, like I'm gonna stop it.
All right. So today we had 2 people who didn't hit their metrics as far as like even outbound calls.
Mm-hmm.
Do we just call them up and be like, hey, bro, what's going on here?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
In
usually
fact,
how I am. I'm like, hey, what's going on? Like, what
in
what
fact,
happened?
we encourage to do it the same day, because if you don't do it the same day and you do it the next day, you ruin today and tomorrow. Right. So we actually encourage that you nip it the moment it's caught, figured out, addressed, whatever. But we
That's a
talk
good
about it right
point.
now.
That's a really good point. I'm sending messages. 1 minute.
Yeah. And like a lot of the stuff, right? It's not like I wish I could say I figured this out. I wish I could say that, right? But the reality is I brought in Ren Bartlett because he ran a 50 salesperson team, right? They were
Bro,
doing
that's nuts. Yeah.
they were doing 100 plus wholesales a month, right?
What is that? What does that even look like? I mean, obviously
That
there's
sounds
50
awful.
sales rep to do that. What's the marketing budget? Is that $1 million a month or what?
I don't
It
think it was
sounds
$1 million a month, but it was a lot. They were doing a lot of deals. Right? They were in I want to say 8 markets when they were doing 100 plus deals a month. So
All
I,
virtual?
no, they were doing it in person in all the different markets.
All in person. Ooh.
All in person, yeah. And so they're in the South, right? And so the South is a little bit different. Well, that could be a limiting belief, but generally speaking, the South likes to know who they're doing business with, right?
Mhm.
And so so I brought him in because he was already doing 100 plus wholesale deals a month, managing 50 sales reps at a time. So I wish I could say I came up with all these brilliant ideas, but the reality is Ren was the one that went out there and bought the coaches, right? Had them help him build his system, and then see what works, what doesn't work, and again, dealing with the problem today. Because if you don't deal with today, then you crap on them tomorrow, and then they'd be in a bad mood tomorrow. So he's like, well, I'm going to stop doing that. I'm going to address it today versus demoralizing them tomorrow.
How much leeway do you give your reps? Like how many conversations? Are you just the 3 conversation type of dude?
No, I'm not. So for me, the things we're looking for are coachability and work ethic. Like if you're genuinely trying your best, and this could be a fault or a character flaw, but if you're genuinely trying your best, like you're doing the 3-hour talk time and you're listening to the coaching and it's just not working, I'll keep working with you, maybe to
Same.
my detriment,
Yeah.
right? And look, it hurt us last year because we had some people that we kept longer than we really should have, but they had the work ethic and they really wanted to get better. Eventually, we let them go, but I don't know. I feel better about it. It's really the people that aren't putting in the work, right? It's like, why are you so goddamn lazy, right? Like, get out of here. Like, this is not the place for you. So if they're not willing to put in the work ethic, or if they're not coachable, man, nothing pisses me off than a person that's not coachable, right?
It's frustrating.
Yeah. And so, like, if they're not coachable, get out of here. But if you're coachable and you're trying to get better and you're putting in the work, man, it's hard to find those people.
It's
So we'll
it's
keep-
really hard to find those people,
So we'll keep
and
putting in
you
the work.
hang on to them, right? That's I'd say, but I will take that person though because they're a good culture fit overall, and they keep the
Yeah.
standard, even if
Right.
they suck, right? Like everybody can see the work ethic is there,
Mhm.
and then even that best guy knows he has to keep it up because John over
Yeah.
here is sucking.
Look,
balls
if I
like
could
everybody
hire a
so
bunch
well.
of Rudies, man, like that's what I would take.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Well, what's your take, Steve, on like how often you're looking for talent? So you probably
Always.
have a team right now that probably is the right amount of people you need based on the revenue you're trying to hit, based on the leads that you have. You probably have the right amount of people.
Unfortunately,
you
no, not at the exact
okay?
moment, but I
Okay,
better appreciate the faith.
but assuming you do,
Yeah.
are you still in those moments looking for talent and interviewing people?
Yeah. Always be recruiting. I mean, look, you look at every great NFL program or college football program, they're always evaluating talent. Always, right? And
Mhm.
look, as much as you love that people will stick around with you forever, they normally don't, for one reason or another, right?
Yeah.
Either their life situation has changed, right? What was important to them when they first started with you is no longer important. I mean, like, there are awful things that happen in life, and it really you reprioritize and reassess life. Or, you know, things that have happened where you make it look too easy. Strat and I, we had this conversation some time ago. Like, you could take all the people that have left me to do bigger and better things. Not a lot of them have, right? But they see what you do and how you make it look, and they want to go replicate it, right? And
That's
so there are
super true.
a ton of
Yes.
people that have gone off and have not done bigger and better things, right? It's the reality. And so you got to always be recruiting. So we actually have a full-time recruiter in-house
Oh,
who is constantly looking at resumes, constantly looking at applications, constantly sending out predictive index assessments, reviewing those PIs to see what would be a good fit or not. Look, the reality today, and we're in Collective Genius. This is the best real estate mastermind in the country, right? Hands down. I don't think there's a better one. Now, they're real estate specific. There are other great masterminds, but as far as real estate, I don't believe there's a better mastermind. So what do we have here though? Marketing is really hard when you first get into the business. It's really easy afterwards. It's just money, right? It's money and math.
you get to a certain
Right.
point, yeah. You just
Right.
spend
It's
more
just money
money,
and
You're
or
spending. Yeah, you're spending.
right? Hey, is it positive ROI or not? Right? Is it a 5x ROI? No, cut it. Is it 9x ROI? Keep it. How much more money can we spend here? Right? It's just money and math. Operations, right? Salesforce, all these other CRMs, whatever. But operations, we know you should answer the phone 90% of the time. We know we should get back to a prospect within 3 minutes of filling out a form, right? We know all these things. So then it's just operations. So, like, how much different is an elite operation versus a pretty good operation? It might be a difference of like 98% versus like 80, 85%. So there's not like a massive competitive advantage here in operations anymore. There used to be, right? Like when I first started, there was no batch skip tracing, right? Whoever got the phone number got the freaking deal, right? Now, operationally, we're all pretty even. So then what is the difference between a good operation and a bad operation? The same thing, the difference between a good NBA team and a bad NBA team. It's the people.
Mhm.
So we're always looking for the best talent.
Damn, we got to go hire more people.
Man.
Right. We're trying to build a Kevin Durant,
I gotta
Devin
go
Booker,
hire more
Bradley Beal situation for our wholesale company.
Bro, you have no bench.
Do they
Yeah,
get
no.
results though? I mean, with that
Bro,
setup,
that's an awful example to use.
yeah. Why'd you
Okay,
use that
fine.
one?
Okay, fine. I'm sorry.
You
I
gotta-
want a Dean Rogers, Stratton Brown.
Steve Trang. Who are we going against? Carlos
Trang.
and his team, or what?
Yeah, bro.
Hey, if you
you
guys want to come down, we're
Bro.
setting up the basketball game. We're doing the 5-on-5. If you two want to be number 4 and 5, we got Xavier and Brad Mortensen.
Dang.
How athletic is
Four.
Brad, bro? I'm not gonna lie, Brad doesn't look like he drinks enough milk.
Brad is shifty. He's the only person. So like I guard him, right? And I kind of made this mistake. I caught it. I was talking trash, and so I told him he was scared to show up, and so then he showed up the next morning. So I had to guard him, and I didn't know he played receiver in high school. So he's like the only person I know that will run down the 3-point line and a couple steps in the 3-point line, do a stutter step, and he's either going to cut towards the basket or cut to the 3-point line, and both are valid threats.
That's so good.
Bro, I will, Dino. If you're down, I am down. Because I know
How soon are we
can run
talking?
point. How soon?
We're looking maybe 3 weeks, right? So I got to find a spot.
shit.
We're thinking about doing a charity event. So right now, what we talked about internally in my organization is basketball and business. So like, we're gonna find a gym, rent it out, whatever it costs. Maybe charge $97 a head, and then we're gonna cover the cost of the gym, and then the rest
you
of it
gonna
goes
have
to
a news
charity.
crew there, or what?
Yeah, bro.
We're
Bring
gonna
a
have
news
my
crew.
crew there.
I like that.
Yeah, but I figure, right? Like, if we can make this a charity event, you know, a bunch of people learn some stuff about real estate, get to boo Carlos, right? And then the extra money goes to charity. Like everyone wins.
Who's on Carlos's team? I have another dude named Alex Jacobs who I'd want to pick up too.
He hasn't said anything yet. I was thinking about reaching out, like one of my, Ryan Zolan, right? Asian investors.
Yeah.
So apparently, like someone on his team just helped Isaiah Todd, get a rental. He just got traded. I was like, well, hey, can he just say he invests in real estate, so we can?
I would say you have to be 1 year removed. Like you have to have committed. You have to have committed to where this is your new venture.
Oh,
That's fair.
Well, you're not on the rules committee, so don't worry about it.
Because there is such a massive gap between anyone and that man. It is disgusting.
I've never seen him play, but I imagine he's pretty good.
Bro, the amount of gap, like if me and Dean go and play flag football, the gap between us and everyone else is so vastly large. It's like they don't even get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're talking about a dude who's 21 years old and 6'9". Is that what you're talking about?
I don't care.
Isaiah Todd?
I mean, he's
Bro,
not good enough to
6'9"
play for the
anything.
Suns.
Bro, if you were 6'9" and you're playing with regular humans, it's over.
Yeah. Well, hey, I got to say, I've had some runs with some NBA guys that were just freakish humans, and I held my ground pretty good.
Yeah.
Had
Dino's
some
got 'em
buckets.
by their
I
jersey.
believe it was Captain America. But here's the thing, right? I like
Yeah.
to win. I'm a little competitive. So if I can stack the deck, no big deal. Do you remember who was it? It was Robert. He was a safety for the Vikings and he played for the Cardinals. Robert Tate, right? So we had an NBA. We had not NBA. We had a basketball league, intramural league, where I had Jason McAdley, who was the receiver for the Cardinals, and Robert Tate, who was a safety for the Cardinals. We did pretty well in that league, right? Now the other team did have who was that giant linebacker? Terrell Suggs, right? I mean, they had Terrell Suggs in their team. He's a big boy. He was a big boy, and he was a little mean. Right? But we beat them in the finals. That was great. So yeah, we like to stack the deck.
Bro, let's talk about your sales school that you just dropped.
All right.
What are you going over in your sales school? What does it look like day to day? Like, is it like a daily thing? And it's because I'm a big fan of your sales process. I think it works across all industries. Maybe not as much if you're super low ticket transactional trying to sell $20 items.
Yeah. So it's what we have right now. It's a sales community. We have about 100 people in there. And we do 3 live training calls a week. So Ian was someone I was able to fortunately pluck. Like I said, I always, have an eye for talent. This guy was making $250,000 a year in selling solar, right? So like, hey, you're really good at sales. How about we collaborate and then you run our sales community, right? So he is. So he's running 3 training calls a week. The guy is a giant sales nerd, which is great, right? Because we're speaking the same language. We're obsessed with sales. But yeah, it's 3 training calls a week, which includes role playing. We have inside the Discord, we have an accountability group we just added today, which was me in there inside the accountability group with me making calls inside the Salesforce, right? We're cleaning up some of the database. So I'm just going there. I'm just calling people. So we got that accountability group in there. We have all the courses I've ever recorded in there. So our sales masterclass that we sell for $3,000, our disposition course that we sold for $1,000. We have our live event that we charge thousands of dollars for. We just put it inside that community. It's all included for $97 a month. So we are trying to build the single largest sales community. It's not real estate specific, right? Sales community. We're trying to build the single largest sales community in the country. So that's our new sales school.
Dang, that's a big blue ocean right there.
Yeah, I think so. There's only a handful of people doing it at a really good level. And man, it's really I don't know if I should really complain about this. It's a little disheartening though. You look at some of the biggest sales trainers out there, and you watch their content, it's like, this guy's a sales trainer? Like, he doesn't talk about sales. He's like
They're all motivation. Yeah, they're all motivational buff guys. Motivational.
Yeah, it's like you are an angry Andy Frisella. Like, and that's saying something because that guy is pissed.
He's already angry, right?
Yeah, Andy's already angry, bro.
I know. So you got an angrier Andy Frisella and you're a sales trainer. So like, but that stuff works. So we are approaching it from the sales perspective of sales training versus the motivational hype training of sales training.
How much hype do you think needs to be in the sales training though? Because I think you hire on motivated people, you don't motivate people, but then still at times you have to motivate people.
You have to motivate people, but I think our audience, and this has been true my entire career, right? When I was running the brokerage, when running the wholesale company, we love bringing in people that have an internal engine. Dan Sullivan calls it, we like to hire people with batteries included. So, if I have to motivate you every day, I'm exhausted just thinking about it, right? What was it? Jim Collins, right? From Good to Great. So I had this epiphany. I was working at an old brokerage and I was like the manager there, right? And I had this epiphany when I read the book From Good to Great, which was you can't motivate people. You have to hire motivated people because you have to motivate them. Then what do you have to do? You have to motivate them every day, right? Mm-hmm. You have to go in there and fire up a Jocko video, a Tony Robbins video. You got to do the movie montages, right? And you gotta overly caffeinate the office. It's just, I don't want that. I want people that are driven, right? I want people that are motivated internally. Again, the question I did with the role play earlier. Hey, Stratton, what's important to you, right? Like, I want to be able to I want to create a comfortable life for my family. Oh, okay. What does that mean? What does that look like? How would that feel? That's all the motivation he needs. But if I got to come in every morning and like shake him and do like the chest bump, like, I don't even want to come to the office. I don't want to be at that office. If we got to do Wolf of Wall Street and Ludes, like, it's just not for me.
Well, bro, I feel like I need to bring it because that's not my personality type at all. And I've been struggling because like I don't want to do rah-rah every day. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, bro, let's just get to work. Like we go
let's get to work. Right? Like if you want to make a lot of freaking money, let's do this together. You want to get motivated every day? There's companies out there for you. It's just this is not that company. Right? Like there are other company cultures where that works, right? There are other people that are fired up all the time. I'm trying to think who in our industry is fired up all the time. Eric Klein posted a video yesterday. That guy's fired up, right? If you need to be motivated, inspired every day, go work for Eric Klein, right? He will motivate you. I'm not that guy.
Bro, exactly. We're here to work. Let's go have a good time, make a lot of money, and then go have fun. That's like my whole thing to where I'm not a big rah-rah guy. Dean, you're a little bit more of a rah-rah guy.
I get into it. I like to get fired up. I like to get the juices flowing, but you're making me think this whole time. I'm just thinking to myself, like, at the end of the day, you can get results with mediocre talent, but like to get to that next level, you just got to have the right people. That's it.
Yeah.
My
Well,
big
and
thing
look,
is now like killer salesmen. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for savages.
so here's something else I learned from Ren, right? You want to get those savages? Where are they? They're not on Instagram, right? They don't live with their moms. They don't have, right? Like, if I don't sell anything this month, I'm going to be okay. That's who we've hired forever. I want to hustle. I want to make it, right? And then you realize later on that, oh, the best salespeople actually look like us right now. I mean, Stratton, you're like what, young 30s?
I am 28.
28. Gotta hate you. All right. And
Right?
Dean? How old are you, Dean?
35.
35, right? But high performing salespeople look like us between the ages of 28 and 43, right?
You took it up to you.
Yeah, right. But they're not 22, right?
Yeah.
Like they already have some life experience. They already went and got drunk at the club and got hungover and realized at some point, oh, if I just drink water after a heavy night of drinking, Mondays won't suck, right? These are the people we're looking to hire. People that have expenses. Now, I'm not saying push expenses on your people, but if someone already drives a Mercedes and their wife drives a Lexus, right? They're accustomed to a certain lifestyle, right? They're spending 8,000, 9,000, 10,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
They need to make money. And when you hire these people, they know work ethic, they know how to deal with life problems, they know how to do work.
They
You
got real
hire
life
these young,
perspective. Yeah.
Well,
right?
and
You
they're already
hire a
trained
young guy.
too.
They're
Yeah.
trained already, right? But you hire a young guy who's living with their mom. And no disrespect, I love hustle culture. I was hustle culture, right? I get it. But if we're building a sales team, we've got to build a sales team with proven veterans, not a bunch of rookies that we're going to take flyers on that I hope they work out, right? And that's what we've done forever. We hired a bunch of rookies, unproven track record, and we hope they worked out. And what happened? Most of them didn't, and the ones that did left to compete against us. So now we're hiring the veteran, right? The guy that kills it at the car dealership, the guy that sells solar well but is tired of door knocking, right? The guy that is, has used to have a good insurance portfolio, right? Like built the book of business and sold his insurance company. Those are who we're hiring. And by the way, if their family is accustomed to $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 a month and they don't hit their metrics, who's pissed? Not us. Their wives are pissed, right?
Yeah.
That's who we're hiring. So when we're talking about building a sales organization, that's what we're talking about.
So car dealership, solar. I know Tiff and Josh talk about going to hire people from Best Buy in the commission side of things. You said insurance agent. What are other good
are
places
Best
to
Buy
hire
guys
sales
making
guys?
$100K a year?
I don't know. I know that she hires them for her coaching side of her business, so it might not be the same for sales.
Yeah.
But what are some
like
other good spots?
I think medical sales, right? Like pharmaceutical, medical supplies.
That's a good one.
Let's see what else there are. I can't think of anything else off the top of my head at the moment, but
Those are all good ones.
roofing, right? I learned. So Jeremy Miner, right? Massive in the sales space as well. I had the good fortune to have breakfast with him a few months back. And he was like, who are my best paying clients? Like who? Like window replacement guys. It's like window replacement.
One of my friends does that, and he does actually pretty well.
Yeah, he's like, these guys make $80K a month. Like they're making $80,000 a month replacing windows. Damn. You look at software sales, right? These guys do really well too.
Yeah. just lost my train of thought. I had another question for you.
I honestly have so many notes from those podcasts.
Yeah.
Taking notes this whole time. So sales training, you're taking it national, basically, right?
Yeah.
How do you get this out in front of people? What's your guys' marketing strategy for that to get this in front of as many people as possible?
So I love salespeople. And one thing I love about salespeople, and I'm in this category as well, right? So I'm not judging salespeople. One of the great things about salespeople is that they're shameless, right? And so we have an affiliate component too.
There we go.
So the $97 a month, we're paying 20% forever, right? In perpetuity. So for me, I saw like 2 years ago, do you know who Andrew Tate was?
No.
Right? What did he do? Freaking blew up all over TikTok. How? Affiliate marketing. These people are taking Andrew Tate videos and they're selling affiliates to his products.
Yeah.
That's our goal, is to build a giant affiliate network nationwide. So we'll see if this goes. I have a theory somewhere between 500 and 2,000 members. We should hit critical mass where the thing just kind of blows up on its own. But time will tell. So our number one thing is affiliate marketing. Number two, podcasts such as these. I'm speaking at Family Mastermind. Right, we're doing Part of the Disruption live at Family Mastermind. So I think so there's that as well. So I think those are the biggest things. Is the affiliate marketing. We're trying to get the salespeople to really just push it as much as possible. And why wouldn't they, right? We're doing a good job.
Yeah.
I got to send you $97 to put our team in there.
Yeah. We're ready.
same here.
Salesdisruptors.com it's my handle right there.
I was just going to ask you, where do people find it? How do they get signed up? All that.
It's right there, salesdisruptors.com. Right? You go there, you sign up. It's when you go there, it takes you to another checkout page, and then once you do, you'll get access. After you check out, you get access again to all the materials as well as the Discord. Right? So everything about how to close deals is in there. And like I said, we added an accountability channel today. We added a role-playing channel today. So anytime you want to go in there and role-play with anybody, you just go in that role-play room, and you can role-play with other people across the country.
Talk about your sales leadership program too.
Yeah, so our sales leadership program, this is for people that are trying to build a sales organization. Like I said, my hypothesis is that marketing has been figured out. Operations has mostly been figured out. The difference between an okay organization and an excellent organization is the salespeople. So we're teaching organizations how to effectively lead salespeople, and that comes into 5 different components. How do you find good salespeople? After you find them, how do you onboard them so that you set the right tone for their career, their trajectory within your organization? And after that, how do you train them, right? You got to train them up, because there's no point in getting good people if you can't train them up where they're excellent. And the next step is how do you manage them? How do you hold them accountable? Because accountability is really super scary with salespeople. I mean, it's scary already with like staff and regular people.
Staff is so much easier.
Right? But
I've been able to manage like
salespeople-
project staff is way at like a decent clip compared to salespeople.
Right. Well, salespeople, you got to think about it, right? They're highly independent. They got a strong ego, not a big ego, but they got a strong ego, and rules don't apply to them. And I'm not judging salespeople because I'm that category, right? Rules don't apply to me either. How do you manage a person that's got a strong ego, highly independent, and non-compliant? You got to plug into their why, which is what we did earlier in our role play, right? In the beginning of the podcast. And the last thing is you got to retain them. How do you have high retention? What kind of culture are you building? So those are the 5 different phases we talk about on how to build an effective sales organization. I'll give you another thing we just did very recently, right? Like we use Go High Level for our education side, or we use Salesforce for wholesale, Go High Level for our education side. One thing we implemented is Go High Level for our recruiting company now, right?
Ooh, tell me more about that, because we have Go High Level set up for our recruiting in the VA space.
Yeah. So what we do is we have Wise Hire, and the moment someone applies on Wise Hire, it just shoots into Go High Level. Now I got your phone number, your email, the role you applied for, whether we moved you to the next stage or not. It's all inside Go High Level. And now recruiting is sales and marketing, right? Like most people don't look at it. Recruiting just feels like kind of something you have to do. Recruiting is sales and marketing. And so now internally, our recruiter is running a sales department inside how to find good salespeople. So that's something we've done recently. Now we can run KPIs. Now I can say, hey, you're
Only
supposed to
introduce
have this many
somebody else.
conversations you were supposed to have last week. What's going on? So that all goes into sales leadership.
Dino, this has been such a fire podcast.
I know. I got so many more questions too.
Ask him one more. Ask him one more. We're eating up his time. I'm sorry, Steve.
Oh,
No,
it's totally fine. I'm happy to chop it up. Maybe we can always do a part 2, right? I love chopping up with you guys, right? It's 3 athletes on StreamYard. I mean,
I'm just excited about getting a game going sometime in the future, whether it's 3 weeks from now or in the future.
Get it going. Dean can only go one day in a week at a time, but if you pick the right week, I know Dean might be able to commit. I will commit regardless, but I know we got to be.
Is your ankle okay?
It'll be fine. I can wear ankle braces.
You just get a cortisone shot.
So what? Okay, we'll end after this. Dino made fun of me when I broke my ankle.
I was wondering if you're going to bring this up.
That guy right there, I broke my ankle, and I tell Dean, and he just burst out laughing and calls me a dumbass.
It was a nothing burger. It was a nothing burger.
Later,
he just collapsed on the ground for no reason. Anyway, go ahead.
2 weeks later, Dean is hooping at Than Merrill's house, Mr. Fortune Builder, and he fucks up his ankle, and he goes down hard, just as bad.
Bag of potatoes.
He couldn't do anything. Bag of potatoes, worthless.
Dude.
Can't help around the house.
It was literally like a sniper shot me, dude. It made no sense. I'm playing lights out. 3 games. We're in our 4th game. 3 games, lights out. I'm getting a ton of buckets. I got a couple game winners now. Two the games with game winners. I'm going in the 4th game. Like, all right, getting a little tired. This will be a good solid finish. I cross this dude to the top of the key, and I'm dribbling now with my left, and I do a little hop skip thing, and I come down to plant to explode up and shoot, and my left ankle just goes out of nowhere. It made no sense at all.
It's not nowhere. It's karma.
It's karma.
The guy defending me.
Karma was looking around the corner.
It had to have been. The defender guarding me was on my right hip, but he says, like, after, he's like, I felt some pressure on my foot, so, like, I think you maybe rolled it on my foot. He had to have, like, super overcorrected, which would have been a dickhead move. But, dude, it just made no sense. I immediately thought of Stratton. I was like, no.
Have you looked at knees over toes?
I've heard of it.
I've heard of it. I know I need to.
Since I've done that training, I have stepped on so many people's feet, and I'm totally fine. I also go to the gym. I don't do it anymore, but I used to. I was going to the gym barefoot. Now I have to use those zero lift shoes, right? Those CrossFit shoes. And, like, I feel it's not indestructible. I'm not trying to test karma, right? But I have, where people, like, put their feet underneath you when you shoot a 3. I've had that happen multiple times, and I'm totally fine. So just that knees over toes guys onto something.
I see a lot of soccer on my social media, and they always talk about having ankle stiffness, elite ankle stiffness. And it's all comes down to, like, training barefoot and doing different exercises, like with your toes, to get your ankle strength and your foot strength. And how the soccer players have that great touch because they're used to playing barefoot.
Yeah.
So I believe it.
All right. So last question.
All right. Do you know you got one more?
Man, for, I guess, someone like me where I'm at right now, what's the next thing around the corner? 7 figures in revenue, got a team of people. What do you think is, for someone that's been in your position, is it the sales leadership aspect? Is it better people that need to be on the team? Like you said, doing just about all the different marketing I can be doing. What, for someone who's listening, or like myself, who has a team, like, how do you get to that next level?
Let me give them context real quick, Steve. Okay. So Dean has tapped our market. He's tapped the Central Valley market. In my opinion, he can do a little bit more, but I think you outspend everyone here. besides maybe Osborne.
True.
Yeah.
Right. So like he's like tapped like the Central Valley market for a little bit
So
of context.
the question, the answer to that question is going to be a little counterintuitive. I think the big question first is what is important to you, and I ask this question because when we're in masterminds and we're surrounded by a bunch of other alpha males, right, and it becomes this contest, is more important to you? Is scaling important to you, right? If scaling is important to you, then I would suggest, the sales leadership, because the salespeople, right, is going to be the biggest difference maker. But maybe it's not scaling. Maybe it's how do I keep the same size organization and be more profitable,
Mm-hmm.
right? Maybe it's, hey, you know what? I like what Stratton's doing with the self-storage thing. Maybe I just kind of keep the real estate business the way it is, and maybe I dabble in self-storage. Like, there's no one right answer, and the only way you can figure it out is really to figure out what's truly important to you. My wife and I had this conversation I think maybe a month ago now, and she asked me, what's different between you now and you like a year and a half ago, because my attitude has shifted, right? My mindset is different now. He's like, what's changed? I was like, well, what's changed is that I've gone into this, rigging the game, whale club, what's important to you mindset. It's like, what does that mean? Well, my question always was, how do I scale more? How do I do more revenue? That was always my question. She's like, okay, what's your question now? How can I increase profit without adding any more risk? It's a different question.
Yeah.
Right.
That's where I'm at. Like you're hitting it right on the head. That's exactly where I'm at. I don't feel like, oh, I need to do all these more deals. Like if we consistently do the same amount, but we're increasing profitability, then that's the goal. And bringing in someone to help manage operations, and drive the team.
So the answer to that question requires a massive deep dive in your organization, right? In your business, but also your personal preferences. One of the questions we ask is, and I'll just do it with you right now, right? We know you play professional football, but like when you were a kid, what was your favorite sport or hobby when you were like 6, 7, or 8 before you got corrupted by life?
Whatever I was playing at the time.
Any sport? What was your favorite sport?
So the main sports I played were soccer starting out before football, and basketball. And then once it was football or soccer, because they were at the same time, then it became football and basketball and baseball. Then I saw how corrupt and political baseball was in junior high. And I was like, screw this. I'm going to stop playing and just focus on football, basketball.
So basketball and football, would you say over soccer?
I mean, I didn't play it that much further on beyond.
Okay. So then between basketball and football, right? Money's off the table, right?
Yeah.
Just pure love. Which one do you love more?
I like playing basketball probably more.
Okay. What's your favorite thing about basketball?
Just the action of it, going back and forth, and you're scoring more points than you are in football. Like football, you got to put so much more effort in to get a touchdown. But basketball, like you could just be hitting dimes like one after another, and it just feels
so when
good,
you say dimes, then are you talking about you like passing the ball, or you like scoring the ball?
Scoring, yeah.
You like scoring the ball. Okay. Do you like scoring the ball where like it's effortless? Do you like beating the guy off the dribble? Do you like to catch and shoot?
Yeah, I like the hard earned baskets. But I like to be dynamic too. So, the unexpected 3 or game winner 3 or whatever off the dribble, they're not usually expecting, but
you like the light though. You like everyone to know that Dean just dominated Stratton on this basketball court.
Yeah, of course.
Oh hell yeah! Well, that is me. Like I want everybody to know you just got done,
right?
And I did it.
Well, so then if that's the case, then it's possible. Then you maybe do want a bigger team. You want to do a larger organization, right? And if that's the case, then potentially sales leadership. right? Like for me, I've always been fine. Like I want to hit the game winner, right? I've always want the game winner. I don't know why, right? But beyond that, I've never needed to score a lot of points. But I am totally happy setting screens. I love making the right pass, right? And you can't screen me. I will get through that screen, right? I will not give up on defense, right? So what does that translate to? I am willing to outwork anybody, right? And I'm gonna be fundamentally sound, and I am a team player, right? Like those are kind of how I would describe my life, but also basketball. And so I ask these questions to figure out like what's important to you in basketball, because what's important to you about basketball should also be important to you in business. And so then my suggestion to you, if you love scoring a bunch of points and letting everyone know that they got dominated, then it might be expanding your sales organization.
Maybe so. I don't know.
Yeah. But again, it probably is worthy of having a deeper dive to talk about all of that.
Yeah, it's fun to think about.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, Steve-O.
Yeah, you're very
Yeah,
welcome.
man.
I love it. Always enjoy it. So let
This
me know
has
when
been
we're
one
doing
of my
part 2.
favorite podcasts so far. We'll do. How long?
I'm
How
glad
long
it
do you
finally
wait
worked.
to do part 2s? How long do you wait to do part 2s on disruptors? A year?
A year.
I mean, you've had Jamil on there like 4 times.
5. But he was also my mentor, right? Like, you know, he was the one that was wholesaling deals to. Right? That agent outreach thing, I was that agent that he was outreaching to. Right? So when I got a deal, I was like, "Hey, Jamil, can you move this deal?" So he was instrumental in my journey.
All right, we'll get you on in another year. Thank you guys Thank you so much for coming on, everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe down there at the bottom left. If you're listening to us on the podcast app, go give us a 5-star review. And if this brought you any value, share it with your friends. This should give you immense value, really, no matter where you're at in your business. This should help you immensely. And if you want to join Steve's community, Steve, let's pull up Steve-O's thing real quick. Go to salesdisruptors.com. I'm about to join it. I'm sure Dean's about to join it. Dean sounds like he's sold on sales leadership as well. Go give it a look, join it. It'll help you or your sales team.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you.
Thanks,
See
Steve-O.
you guys later. It's a lot of fun.
Peace.
Appreciate you guys. Let you guys know
Thanks,
about
Steve.
basketball.